Hey guys, another update on the truck then. I've done a bit more since I last spoke to you. I've got lights in the cab now, which I'll show you in a minute. I've done a bit more detailing up on the chassis, and I've also got all the electronics, or the power supply put in, should I say, on the switch. And a bit more detailing up on the rear axles. We'll go through the chassis first then. So, as you can see, I've got the rear mud flaps on now. I've got the holes to drill for the LEDs and everything to go in the back. Fuel tank's nowhere near finished. It's still in its first stage of painting. I've got the walkway on now as well, but that's going to have to come off because I'm going to put the accessory set 2 on it, which is a big chrome cover that goes over the whole of the chassis, so you won't see any of that. On this side, wheel chock's now done. Fuel tanks and exhaust have been finished, but once all the paneling and everything's on from the accessory set 2, you're not going to see any of it anyway. As you can see in the battery box, I've placed the on-off switch, and the case fits nicely on top, but I aren't going to bother with that, so once the chrome plate's on, you won't see any of it anyway. Shockers and that have been painted up on both sides. Underneath, you can see that the fuel tank is going to hold the battery, which the wire is obviously there. And just to show you, 9-volt battery, oops, fits in there just nicely. So that's where I'm going to stick that. And then the wiring's coming through the chassis, over the beam, into the box, battery box for the on-off switch, and then it's running along the chassis line, chassis beam, and going out into the actual cab there. So that's the main power supply for the rest of the truck once I get all the lights and that in it. Well, once I turn them on. Well, turn them on? Get them, should I say. So that's the chassis. Next bit then we'll go through is this. As you can see, it still needs a bit of touch up here and there. However, back axle's pretty much done. If you're ever going to build one of these, I believe quite a few of them are the same, like the Mercedes and the DAF and everything. These shockers are actually really fragile. I don't know if you can see that one, but that one's really loose when it shouldn't be. The other one's still solid, so I haven't damaged it in any way. It's just come out of the box like that, so I'd be very, very cautious of that, because that is what holds this side onto the chassis arm. But either way, that's what we're looking at then. It's still got lots to do on that, lots of painting to do. However, you're not really going to see it unless you turn the thing upside down anyway, so, but it's one of those things that's going to knock me, and my OCD will kick in if I don't do it. Because if I do turn it upside down for whatever reason, it'll be, oh, well, why didn't I do that? So, yeah, anyway, moving on then. We've now got a dashboard in, with the dials and everything in. You can't really see it. Oh, focus, there you go. It's got all the dials and that in there. I've drilled some holes into the console there. I've still got a few more holes to drill. I've also done the rocker switches behind the handbrake, and they're now glowing a nice orange. So how I've done it, underneath I've got a strip of styrene with a 5mm flathead orange LED, and then underneath the dashboard I've drilled a hole, and that's another 5mm orange LED. Oops, drilled a hole here for the wiring to come through, and then as you can see underneath, I've put another 5mm orange LED here for the rocker switches. Hot glued the wiring in around the corner, and then it's all on like mini connectors in there, hidden away with the on-off power supply there. Underneath the dash itself, which isn't glued down yet, just to show you, there's the LED underneath there, look. Flat top orange LED, and then on the underneath of this, it's all painted white, ready for the reflection off the orange LED. So what we'll do now is, if I can manage it, it's obviously not stuck down, so there will be a little bit of light leakage underneath that dash, but hey ho, that'll get rectified shortly. So hopefully if I can get that on there, and what you can see is the dash lights up, the rocker panels light up, and then those rocker panels light up there as well. So we've got some lights in there. So what we'll try and do now is, if I can manage it, hopefully that'll stay on. We'll turn the lights up and make it a bit darker. And there you go. Look, what we have then is the dials lighting up in the corner there, behind the steering wheel. We've got the orange, well, they've come out yellow, however that is obviously orange. Centre console, and then we've got the orange lights on the top as well. So that's pretty much where I'm at with the lighting at the minute. There will be a bit more from the steering wheel to the, in between the steering wheel and the what looks yellow on the screen, and all the light leaks will be gone. So yeah, I can't really focus in on those dials, so you can see, oh, you can just about see it there. See the dials in between the steering wheel, all glowing up orange. Can't really get behind it because it won't focus in properly for you. There you go, you can kind of see the clocks and everything on, and all that good stuff. Alright, let's put the lights back on. So this kit's pretty much easy enough to light at this point, with a cab anyway. It seems to want to be lit because everything's so easy at this point. However, I'll probably just jinx myself. The only thing you got to watch when you're doing this is underneath the centre console here. It's not actually sealed. It's a great big open hole. So what I've done to light block that is I've put loads of silver aluminium tape behind there, hot glued it all down and filled the hole that way rather than anything else, and then hot glued the styrene strip holding the orange LED over the top of that. So yeah, that's where I'm at the minute with it then. Hopefully the next update will be having some lights going in the actual cab itself, as in the headlights. I'm not doing indicators or anything because the holes are so small on this scale for the orange indicators. I haven't got enough room because they're right underneath the headlight bulbs. So the choice would be either having headlights or having indicators, and I think the headlights are more important. So I'm going to pass on the indicators, but I'll have the fog lights on the bottom. And my only concern is these rear lights. Got some drilling there, and that's going to be really tight because, as you can see, there's absolutely no space whatsoever, which is part of the decision of going with the accessory set too, because there's a nice chrome panel that goes over this as well, so I can run the lights straight across through the chassis and then up the chassis beams itself, rather than trying to hide everything underneath there and making it all nice, neat and tidy, and then having great big horrible open holes underneath there. There's no really point having it open. So I reckon the chrome cover going across the top there, covering all of that, and then the chrome cover going down here, and then it's got the wind deflectors that go down the side, so it's pretty much all encased and boxed in. So everything that I've done there really was a waste of time, but I know it's done, so I'm kind of happy. Oh, the other point on lighting the cab while I'm thinking about it is, if you're going to run it the way I've done there, you've got to get these wires really tight in, because when it sits on the actual cab itself, on the chassis itself, the radiator is kind of like really tight. It's kind of sat squint, it's on the power supply thing, and I'm doing it with one hand. So as you can see, if you don't get it really tight, the cab won't fit properly because the radiator sits in there. So what you might need to do is on the top, I've been lucky with it so far, on the top is maybe just focus, there you go, is maybe just groove out the top of this radiator, take a sort of like a semicircle or an oval out of there, and then you won't have no issues. Then as you can see, once it's all in, power supply's down, you've got all of that room in there to play with, to hide stuff. And because the cab don't tilt, it really doesn't matter how neat or tidy it is underneath there. Once you've got all the cab on, you won't see any of those wires anyway. So yeah, it's getting there really slowly. I can't wait to get the headlights and everything in it, just to see what it looks like. I'm going with the 1.8 mils, like I said, and then I might go for yellows for the fog lights, but we'll see. So that's pretty much where I'm at now. Feel free to leave any comments or anything, or if you want to know how I've done anything, just give us a shout in the comments or whatever. And I'll look forward to giving you another update as soon as I'm done. So, signing off for now. Night night.